Mike, are you able to tell us what the rotation is going to look like this weekend?
I am.
Will you?
Yeah, I will. We're trying to get through a bullpen with Grayson. So we'll start Elliott on Friday, Sagne on Saturday, and Rivas on Sunday. We'll start the first weekend at least with Doherty in the bullpen. Next question is probably how did I come to that? I think all four guys have clearly separated themselves from everyone else. Or I think arguably not only our best guys to this point, but pitched the best to this point. Doherty is the guy that probably has kind of a wild card that has the most significant time in the bullpen. I think starting off the first weekend gives us probably a little better feeling rather than bringing somebody in that's never done it before or has never done it here. But that doesn't mean I know it's the most talked about thing, but I say often, I say it to them, you don't get a trophy for being a weekend starter, especially opening weekend. The rotation tends to shift and change, and but those are certainly the three guys or four guys counting Jack that have separated themselves.
How was the tricep on Grayson?
Terrific. I think probably what you would hope. It probably needed a little bit of a break, and wasn't anything major. You asked the question, and I think it's a tough question for a coach. If it was a big game, important game, could he throw? Probably the honest answer was probably, but at this point, you just want to be safe and make sure he's okay.
You still kind of working out the start nine, or do you feel like you've got that honed in come Friday?
I think I don't know. We talked about it in the office today. I don't know. It's our 9, maybe 10 guys, maybe 11. When you count maybe rotating a DH. I think probably safer with the position players. The guys that'll actually take the field. Alderman in left, Groff in center, McCants in right, Calarco at first, Chadnier second, Gonzalez at short, Leger at third, and Harris behind the plate. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a different DH all 3 days, and maybe some different, another lineup with a guy or two out of there. But we feel really comfortable and confident with probably the top 10 guys. After that, we need to get some at bats under some guys' belts to see what's going to happen after that.
You talked about Rivas. Just what did you see out of him? I know you said kind of all of them separated themselves, but him specifically.
Yeah, just a guy that I think we give out an award in the fall for the pitcher that gives out the least amount of runs, and he won that. Had a tough outing 2 weeks ago, I believe, here, but it was the only tough outing probably of the maybe 7 or 8 outings that he's had here, so far. So, as dominant as anybody with 3 different pitches, fastball, curve, and a slider, an occasional changeup, left-handed, which is always welcomed in this program. But I think again a guy that I think can pitch well on the weekend for us.
Delaware's new coach was with McCormick for a long time at FAU. Do you still stay in touch with John?
I do. I saw John at the convention. We didn't talk about Greg. I know Greg kind of corresponded briefly with him leading up to the series. But just I know he's excited about this opportunity. But I don't know Greg well. I met him a couple of years ago down in Florida. Matter of fact, when I was watching Sam play down there, and he was recruiting for FAU.
Coach, with the SEC implementing a few new things to try to maybe cut down on time in conference games, pitch clock, mound visit clock, that kind of thing. I know your opinion on it doesn't change what they're going to implement, but just wondering if I could get your thoughts on that really quickly.
Well, I think it's really a thrust for all of baseball, professionally and college baseball, to try to make the game faster, more digestible for TV and TV slots. for fans. Yes, I think you have some purists out there that probably don't like clocks, and they're okay with watching a 3.5-hour game. I think the goal and the hope that people understand is they're trying to make the game a little faster without affecting the game. And in doing so, you will affect the game because there will be some balls called and some different things that maybe some of the fans, it'll take some time for them to know how much time and what that clock means. But the hope, I think, from the NCAA and everybody involved is that we'll be able to cut down some of that time that's in between pitches, in between innings, in between hitters, to make the pace of the game, a little faster.
In that same vein, just kind of thoughts, I guess, now they're enacting the run rule in SEC play.
I think that I'm really shocked that it's even asked. I don't mean to. It's something that we've done here in non-conference. I think in conference games it'll happen a lot less. We didn't do the math on how many games it would have affected last year or over the course of the last few years, but very little. The only disappointing thing for that is I don't think necessarily the team's coming back. The thing is, to me it's tough for the team that won. That they maybe got the team that's losing ended up not pitching an inning or two that they would have had to. But again, if that's going to speed up the game, for somebody to have a lead, by 10 or more after 7, I think that's a small concession, on our part.
Mike, you talked a couple weeks ago about shifting and maybe some of the problems that can create in situational plays. I mean, have you been satisfied with what you've seen from your team this preseason, kind of adjusting to that?
Yeah,
challenge?
and it's, I think, continues to be a work in progress. And so for those that didn't hear, or understand the question, I had more concerns, I think, when we started to shift about the play situations and, people covering bags and people backing up bases that traditionally it would be a certain player, but now because of where they are on the field, they can't get to that base or get to that backup position, so it has to be done by somebody else. And who is that? And so, that's been more of a learning curve than necessarily the shift. And the other thing I'll say on the shift, because I've had to answer to a couple people, even our team, just because you shift doesn't mean that they're not going to get a hit. Right, or they won't hit it where you're not. What you're doing is trying to put the percentages in your favor. That if you play in these positions, they will get less hits. Nobody can really tell where the ball's going to go before the guy hits it. But if you go by what traditionally happens when the batter bats, hopefully you're putting your guys in those positions.
Coach, got a lot of new. Some renovations, upgrades coming to Swayze Field, new seating, new stuff going on, as you can tell. What's it like to kind of, coming off of the national championship win, what's it like to kind of be able to kind of give back to the people who are coming to support the team, the fans, improve the atmosphere? What's it like seeing that happen, and what's that feel like for you?
Well, obviously it feels good. We broke another season ticket record this year, and I don't know how many that is over the years, but at least the third year in a row where there's not an actual chairback seat or a premium seat that's available. They've all been sold, in season tickets, and it's a good problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless. And Keith Carter's, I think, been really proactive. They've hired an architect, CDFL out of Jackson, to design something. I met with the architects, with my ops guys last week, I believe, and just sharing ideas and them sharing ideas with us. And it's an exciting time. It's going to take a little time, but it's an exciting time, obviously.
Got some more big ideas for some changes to Swayze Field in the future, hopefully?
Oh, not hopefully, for sure. It's going to happen, and this isn't a dream. This is reality, and now we just got to figure out timing and how do you put it all together.